Time now for everybody's favorite guessing game. What's My Line? Remington Rand, makers of the Remington, the world's #1 electric shaver, presents What's My Line? And now, let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
On my left, the charming young humorist who stars in his own television show 5 nights a week on another network, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you. And on my left, one of the lovely ladies of radio and television who has her own show, Talent Patrol, on another network every... What night is it now?
Now that you asked me, it's Thursday.
Thursday night. They switched it on me. Here is Arlene Francis.
Thank you, Steve. And on my left, substituting for Bennett Cerf, and quite a substitute, Bennett, I must say, is a young lady who has been mentioned for the Academy Award for her performance in From Here to Eternity, who is enchanting New York audiences by her lovely performance in Tea and Sympathy, Miss Deborah Carr.
Arlene, thank you. I'm going to hire you. And on my left, I think this is where I say this, the one, the only, Mr. John Daly.
Thank you, Miss Deborah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. We got a letter here from Bennett Cerf. He's out in La Quinta in California, and it says the show followed him. He got a letter from some young ladies who said we made a mistake, that there aren't male and female worms. We'll look into that later on. But once again, tonight, we're going to put our cameras close up on some nice people who've come with some nice occupations. We think a nice occupation is an occupation that gives the panel a lot of trouble. We anticipate they'll have some trouble tonight. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later on. But let's get things underway. It's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they have to spot. So would you sign in, please, ma'am? Francis Borgen. Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Mrs. Vaughn, and where are you from, Mrs. Vaughn?
Bonner Springs, Kansas.
Bonner Springs, Kansas. Well, it's real nice to have somebody from Kansas with us.
Thank you.
Usually we have people from the eastern seaboard and the western seaboard, and we like the panel to know all kinds of nice folks from the Midwest. So suppose you'll go over and meet them, will you?
How do you do?
All right, now, Mrs. Vaughn, if you'll come over here and sit down next to me, I think perhaps you know that the panel gets one free guess as to what your line may be, and we always begin our free guesses with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think she's a police matron.
A police matron, Mr. Allen.
I think she does the hiring of the soft drink plant. I think she hires root beer.
Brother. Miss Francis.
I think Mrs. Vaughn runs a general store in Kansas.
Miss Carr.
I think Mrs. Vaughn is a milliner here to see the spring styles and hats.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mrs. Frances Vaughn of Bonner Springs, Kansas, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But, Mrs. Vaughn, the panel has got to work, and I trust that you're going to make them work very hard. However, every time you can give them a no answer, we'll flip a card, and 10 no's, 10 flips, and you've won the game. Are you all ready to go?
Already.
All right, Mrs. Vaughn is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Do you work for a profit-making organization, Mrs. Vaughn?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go. All right, Miss Carr.
Well, is there a product in what you do?
Not in our terms of reference. The product is not considered to be vital here. This is 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you deal with both?
Yes.
I presume that you deal in services.
Yes.
Do they come to you?
I would say to the degree that Mrs. Vaughn performs a service that the necessary ingredients for the performance of the service are brought to her, yes.
Do you work for any branch of any government?
What do you say? Yes.
Is it a local government in Kansas?
By what do you mean local?
Well, state or city rather than federal.
Yes.
Is it state?
Yes.
Do you work at all outdoors?
No.
Three down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Could an adverse decision of any sort by you in your professional capacity make anyone unhappy?
Yes.
Do you run something or govern something, or are you in some position of authority?
That's a very good question.
It's 3 very good questions.
You can give yes to that one, yeah.
Do you have anything possibly to do with the law?
With the law?
Yes.
In a way, yes. The implementation thereof in some degree or another.
Well,
I didn't expect this at all.
Do you have anything, could you have anything to do with prisoners or people under arrest or...
No.
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
do you have anything whatsoever to do with discipline?
No.
Just a moment, we'll have a small conference.
Wonder if she's here on business or pleasure.
It's pleasure when you're sitting with John, you know that.
Mrs. Vaughn is of very tender sensibilities and would not care to mislead you. The question as to discipline was asked in such general terms that we hesitate to give you a no, so we will give you a qualified yes.
Swell. I'll give you a qualified thank you. Do you have anything at all to do with children, Mrs. Vaughn?
No.
I don't think so,
No.
not in any specific degree. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Carr.
Oh, that's got me. I was going to ask you, do you teach anything?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have anything to do with carrying out a law or rule or regulation?
Yes.
Does this ever involve anything other than human beings?
Yes.
Yes.
It could. Would it ever have anything to do with animals?
With animals? Well,
No.
I would say that indirectly we could come into contact with some animals in this operation, couldn't we? Possibly, yeah.
Well, does Mrs. Vaughn have anything to do with licensing?
That is a very good question. We'll have a conference. Mrs. Vaughn is very tender in her sensibility. Hesitates to give a no answer, but we'll give you one anyway, okay? 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Allen. I'm going to give you 1 more minute to get there.
It'll do you no good. Neither humans nor animals. Does she have anything to do with farms or plants or growing anything of that sort?
No. 8 down and 2 to go, Miss
Does she
Francis.
have anything to do with vehicular traffic of any
Vehicular
kind?
transportation, moving from one place to another, you mean?
Well, all right, give me the no and don't build it up that way.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss Carr.
May I have a conference, please?
Oh, wonderful.
Well, I was thinking of something like game warden or, that sort of thing, but apparently she doesn't consider that
I wasn't
that's
thinking.
on the nose. What are you thinking of, Arlene?
Nothing except I was thinking of, sort of vice president in charge of the zoo. But still,
Well, that would be definitely animals.
All right, the conference time is up.
Conservation?
Traffic.
Miss Carr.
My chums haven't helped me at all.
I must admit. Maybe she'd ask if she wears a uniform.
Yes, do you wear some kind of a uniform or costume for
No.
what you do?
That's 10 down and no more to
At
go.
least it got you all.
Panel, hang on to your chairs. Mrs. Vaughn is a movie censor for the state of Kansas.
I feel very
What
badly
happened?
about that.
What a happy circumstance brings us all together in the same house. And let's see, Mrs. Vaughn, you got the full prize, and I must say you deserved it. We hope you had fun, too. It was nice having you on What's My Line. Good night, ma'am. All right, panel, let's see. This is going to be a tough night for you, I promise you that. New challenger, will you sign in, please, sir? Cliff Olson. Ring you from, Mr. Olson?
Hickory, North Carolina.
Hickory, North Carolina. Well, good deal. Come up today?
No, yesterday.
Yesterday. Well, then you're not very tired, huh?
No, not too tired.
Good. Long trip. Go meet the panel, will you?
Hello,
Howdy.
Mr. Olson.
All right, Mr. Olson, come on over here and sit down. I know it's hard to tear yourself away from a panel with 3 young ladies on it and just Steve Allen, but you ought to go over here and join me, and we'll let them get going on the free guess, which is always given the panel at this point in the game, and we always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's a track coach.
A track coach, Mr. Allen.
I think he installed stingers on Hudson Hornets.
Miss Branson.
I think he hickory cures hams.
Miss Carr.
I think he looks remarkably like the man who was coughing so much in the front row last night.
That he might have been, but that has not anything to do with his line, so we'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Olson. At the same time, we will tell them what his line is. And Mr. Olson, the rules are simplicity itself. Every time you give them a no answer, I flip a card. Every flip of the card costs the panel $5, and 10 flips, and you've won the game. All right, Mr. Olson is self-employed, and let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Mr. Olson, is there a product connected with your work?
Yes.
Is it what might be described as a useful product?
Yes.
Could any of the members here on the panel tonight put this product out? I'd like to say to the audience, thanks a lot. Let me see. Well, since I'm outnumbered 3-1 here tonight, might I guess that one of my colleagues would be more apt to use this than I would?
Yeah, I think we could say that one of your colleagues would be more apt to use it.
Could this be described as something then decorative or pretty to look at in any sense at all?
Could be.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Might you ever see one of these things in a place like, say, Tiffany's?
Yes.
Yeah, good. To nail this right down, then, is this something that a woman would be more apt to use than a man? Yes. Is there sometimes a great deal of sentiment concerned with the use of this particular item?
I would think that we could say that there is sometimes a great deal of sentiment connected with the use of this particular item, yeah.
To get definite again, could one of the members of the panel perhaps be sporting one of these at this moment?
Mr. Olson isn't quite sure, but I will take it upon myself to say yes.
Well, I will take it upon myself to pass.
Miss Francis.
I can only think that all that laughter must in some way be a tribute to Dorothy. And I wonder if this has anything whatsoever to do with motherhood, does it?
Yes.
This product has something to do with motherhood.
Yes.
Would it have anything to do with the clothes that might be worn by a mother?
Yes.
Do you in some way deal in maternity clothes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you manufacture maternity clothes?
Doesn't manufacture. $1
I know it doesn't model them.
Miss Carr.
Do you sell?
Sells maternity clothes. That's right.
Do you think that's
Mr. Olson, we haven't had this much fun in a long time. Let's flip all the cards and have a lot more fun. Thanks very much. You're a wonderful guest. Very nice going, panel. You knocked that one off. Didn't think you would. Just a moment. We're going to meet tonight's mystery guest. But first, here is Dick Stark to bring you some close harmony.
Friends, here is a timely tune that is just bound to bring back that old barber shop quartet. It's a great new song about that great new shaver, the Remington. Okay, boys, take it away.
For the shave you've always wanted, the shave you've never had, reach for the Remington and you'll be glad. Though your skin is awfully tender, your beard is awfully tough, reach for the Remington and that's enough. For the shaver that can shave a brush will make your beard behave. The shaver that can shave a peach will give you a peach of a shave. So tomorrow see your dealer and try it for a while. Reach for the Remington on this free trial. And you ladies, if you're shopping for presents on the sly, reach for the Remington to give your guy.
Oh, thank you, boys. That's wonderful. Isn't that a wonderful song? I particularly like the part right in here that goes, for the shaver that can shave a brush will make your beard behave. The shaver that can shave a peach will give you a peach of a shave. Believe me, that is really the truth. This amazing Remington will give you a close, comfortable shave no matter how tough your beard, no matter how tender your skin. You know, that is so true. Men are getting such wonderful shaves from the Remington that throughout the world, more people buy Remington shavers than any other make.
So tomorrow see your dealer and try it for a while. Reach for the Remington on this free trial. And you ladies, if you're shopping for presents on the sly, reach for the Remington to give your guy.
And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends in the panel would recognize our guest immediately, so as usual, they have been supplied with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in the world of entertainment?
Grab it.
What'd you say? What did it say?
I asked the same question, Miss Dorothy. That was Martian talk. It means yes.
Are you in what might be termed show business rather than the athletic world?
Reindendorf and Skyboing.
That's yes, too.
That means yes.
Are you a performer?
The move.
That also means yes.
Have you ever been in the movies?
It's a moo.
That means yes, too.
Have you ever been on television?
Gleekendorf and Treaty Sap.
That means indubitably.
Do you do anything in addition to straight acting, such as comedy, singing, dancing, or playing a musical instrument?
Cross and tap it.
This means yes. Oh, thank you.
Well, do you sing?
One down and 9 to go. That was a no, Mr. Allen.
Are you a man?
It's medical and sign boy. Phoebe.
That means no. 2 down and 8 to go. Miss Francis.
Gravity on the treacle by the Kranz band.
Cross and tap it.
You are, therefore, a woman. Correct?
Very good, Miss Arlene.
Are you a leading woman rather than a character actress?
It's a moo.
Huh?
As I remember, moo was yes a few questions ago.
I'm having a little trouble here. Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You say you have appeared on television indubitably. Does that mean that you are seen quite a lot on television?
Crying song.
That means yes.
Yes? Do you have your own show on television?
Langendorf and Geisy.
I take it there are three, huh?
Flagger-speaky, too.
Do you have somebody with you on television? What does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
I see. You are a couple, either a man and wife or a man and a woman who play a dramatic half hour of some kind?
You want me to take you out of that, or you want to get out by yourself, Arlene?
Her language has got me all mixed up.
Yes would be the answer to that.
Yes would be the answer?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a picture of yours now playing on Broadway?
Moo, moo.
No, wait a minute. We got to have a conference.
It's moo, moo.
No?
In the term as we use, playing in Broadway, yes.
Have you been in, certainly the top 10 or 15 in television shows?
Engai Eigenblock, Tung, Bein, Ziegottung, Geist. And Fluk and Die. I forgot Fluk and Die.
This is what happens when you have general lump-farms that come to this program. That would be yes.
That would be yes.
Mm-hmm.
Were you not too long ago interested in the same kind of clothes that the previous contestant had as his profession on this program?
On Flabendabben.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Miss Carr, do you know who this is?
Well, I think it must be.
Who do you think it is?
Must be Lucy.
It certainly is. It's Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball. That's wonderful, isn't it? To hear somebody like Miss Lucille Ball come and say that she was so nervous she almost didn't have a voice left. I suppose that's one reason why you're such a fine artist, because you do have the humility to be, and I use the word in its best sense, to be a little bit nervous no matter what you do.
Thank you.
But I also know that you're in New York with other interests than television and your picture, and I figured that was something probably you would rather talk about than me talk about.
Well, it's certainly a very exciting 10 days that we are embarked upon. It's sort of half over. I think we're going to make the grade. I think we're going to get home all right. But New York after 4 years, wowee! I just want to say one thing. The Heart Fund needs your help. Help your heart. Help the Heart Fund. Please. Good night, everyone.
Very succinctly put. And thanks very much for being here.
Come back home, will you?
Well, thanks. We've had two wonderful people now. We had Desi Arnaz some time ago, now his lovely wife. We have, I think, very little time, but we have a very tricky occupation. I think we'd like to see what the panel can do with it. So our next challenger, come in and sign in, please. Tom Wiswell. Thank you, sir. Where are you from?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York? Fine. You come on over here with me, if you will, because we don't have time for you to walk down in front of the panel. Panel, we have very little time. Actually, you have less than 2 minutes to try and get a rather special kind of occupation. You get your free guesses first. We begin with Miss Kilgallen.
Income tax investigator.
Mr. Allen.
I think Wiswell predicts in baby talk.
Miss Francis.
I think he's a laboratory technician.
Miss Carr.
I think he puts the pimentos in olives.
No, nobody has it. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Wiswell, tell them at the same time what his line is, and then see what the panel can do with it. All right, Mr. Wiswell, You know the rules. We flip the card every time, and 10 flips, and you've got it. Mr. Wiswell is self-employed. Let's begin the general questioning with Miss Carr.
Do you deal in services, Mr.?
Yes.
Is there a product connected with
No.
what you do?
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do your services pertain to both men and women?
Yes.
Do you do mental type work?
Yes.
Is your work more mental than physical?
Yes.
Do you need a special training for your job?
Yes.
Do you work indoors?
Yes.
Do people come to you?
Sometimes.
And sometimes you go to them?
Sometimes.
Do you ever have occasion to touch them?
No. Wouldn't think so. 2 down and 8 to go, and Steve, we got about 20 seconds.
Do you work in the area of one of the sciences? I think so.
No, not...
Most people say no.
No, I would...
Most people say no.
Not technically speaking. It's not a science. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Arley.
Is there anything spiritual about your work?
I don't think so.
No, that, I think, winds up. I was hoping that you might take a wild stab and get this because it's a very interesting occupation. Mr. Weswell is the world's champion professional checker player.
Oh.
And he gets the full prize by reason of default on time, and our thanks for being our guest. Thank you, sir. We'll be back. We'll be back in just a moment, but first, here is Dick Stark with an impressive reminder.
A whopping big $7.50 trade-in allowance. That's 50% more than anyone else gives you, and that's what you'll get for your old electric shaver when you turn it in on this man-size Remington. Yes, sirree. So tomorrow, trade in your old shaver and reach for the Remington, a product of Remington Rand, famous, too, for Remington typewriters and the finest in business machines.
And now, before our panel says goodnight, may I remind you to tune in again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again we invite you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series.
Here is an offer from Stop at Spray Deodorant that you won't want to miss, but you'll have to hurry. This special value package of new Stopette with its anti-immunity factor gives you a 45-day trial bottle free when you buy new Stopette at the regular price. Use the trial bottle, and we know you'll be convinced that new Stopette is more effective than ever. Otherwise, return the regular size and your money will be refunded. This offer is limited, but you may still be able to find this special package with its generous trial bottle in your store. So hurry.
Well, it's been grand having Miss Deborah Carr as our guest tonight. I didn't think you could get 3 such lovely women sitting in one desk all at one time. And Miss Carr appeared tonight on behalf of the New York Lighthouse for the Blind. In appreciation, the producers of What's My Line are sending a check in her name to that very worthy cause. And we offer our thanks for having such a lovely guest on our program. Next week, we'll have another guest panelist. And until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Steve.
Get your pajamas on, boys, and good night, Arlene.
Do that, won't you, boys? It was lovely to have you with us, Deborah, and good night.
Thank you, Arlene. Good night, and good night, John.
Good night, ma'am. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.